Welcome back to the stash, folks. It is I, RGT85, and today we're going to be talking about a system. Now, I haven't talked about a system yet on this channel. Eventually, I'll get around to talking about some, but I felt like talking about a system that I hold near and dear to my heart. I know it's not a good system. I know the system itself was a failure, but I remember in Christmas of 1995, I had my options and choices of what new console I wanted to get. There, of course, was the Sony PlayStation, the Sega Saturn, and you would think as a Sega kid that I would have been drawn to the Saturn, and I was, but there was one other console. There was one other console that I wanted to have, and I thought was just so amazing, and I blame KB Toy Stores for this, and that is the Virtual Boy, a virtual reality headset done by Nintendo in the amazing red and black aesthetic like the NWO Wolfpack. Don't turn your back on the Wolfpack, you might wind up in a body bag. But the Virtual Boy was such a weird system, but I remember being a little kid, going into KB Toys and seeing it for the first time and being like, holy shit, what is this? And then like you had the kiosk and it would adjust to how, you know, how tall you were. And then it had the little pamphlet next to it. It came from a new dimension, a third dimension, a good dimension, had like the weird caveman looking dude with the long hair on it. I was like, this is so cool. And then you stick your little greasy face in there and you played some Mario Tennis. And Mario Tennis was, of course, the pack-in game with the Virtual Boy. And what a great game. Like, yes, it's not the most complex thing in the world. It's just Mario and some friends playing tennis. But this was the first Mario Tennis game, and I think it really sort of set the groundwork for things. The whole gimmick in that game was it was a 3D effect. And really, that's what the Virtual Boy was pretty much through and through. It wasn't necessarily a virtual reality system. It was a 3D system that would allow you to experience depth that you really hadn't experienced in games before, especially because your face is stuck up to it. So like the ball looks like it's coming towards you and stuff like that, but it never really feels like you're in the world. And really there was only one game that actually did that on the system. Of course, the system was a colossal failure. There was only 13 games on it, but there were so many good games of the 13 games. So I just want to briefly talk about some of those games in today's video. The first game, like I said, was Mario Tennis. And I remember my cousin got one of these, and really my uncle was buying it for himself, but he gave it to her. He got Teleroboxer on there. And that to me is one of the best games on the platform. Teleroboxer is so cool because of the fact that it actually feels like a virtual reality game. It's the one game on the system where it is a first-person perspective, and these robots are punching at you, and you have to punch them back. When you get knocked out, it does this awesome thing where like the screen gets all garbled, and then it like ends, like it zips out, like your lights are out or something. Like, it was so cool to see something like that, and I think it's a game that plays very well. It's a game that's obviously inspired by Punch-Out and stuff like that, but I still feel like it stands on its own, and it is a really fun game. Wario Land on the Virtual Boy is arguably the best game on the system, with just a great 2D platformer game that feels like a full-on experience. It doesn't feel like a tech demo or anything like that. It feels like something that is an actual game, like this was created for the Game Boy and then maybe ported over. The whole VR mechanic in this is once again a 3D depth of field thing where you could go into the background and foreground of levels and jump back and forth between them. It's a super solid game regardless of that mechanic, and really it's a damn shame that this game never got a release outside of the Virtual Boy. Now on the flip side, there were lots of subpar games. I shouldn't say lots because there's only 13 games on the damn system, but there's two games that definitely stick out in my mind as just bottom of the barrel nonsense crap. Virtua Baseball, I believe it was called, or Virtual League Baseball. That was a game that I actually picked up with my Virtual Boy as a youth because I was a fan of baseball at that time. Mid-90s baseball was its peak. You had Griffey, you had Canseco, you had McGuire, you had Sosa, you had Barry Bonds. Like, it was an amazing time for baseball. You had all these great pitchers and stuff. Baseball was at its peak in the mid-90s. So I picked up this game because I was a fan of baseball, and just such a generic, boring game. It doesn't look good. It doesn't play good. As a kid, I even knew it was definitely not a good game, but I forced myself to like it. And Waterworld. Waterworld was one of the late releases on this thing, and just a bad game, man. Just a piss poor game that doesn't look good. It doesn't play good. And nowadays, because it was a late release and it wasn't a game that got a lot of, you know, critical acclaim or a lot of copies shipped to your KB Toys, it really just isn't a game that people want, but they want it if you want a complete collection. And of course, it's very expensive. Now, I actually kept my Virtual Boy, so I'll show you guys the games that I still have for it. I actually have one in box. This is a Japanese copy of Vertical Force, which is a fun 2D shoot 'em up game done by Hudson Soft. Bring back the B, boys. Bring back the B. We have the aforementioned Tellero Boxer. Great game. If you ever pick up a Virtual Boy, this is definitely a game that you need to buy. Red Alarm was kind of like a Star Fox wireframe game. People really love this game. I'm not people. I don't love this game. I don't even really like this game. Like, it's okay, but I don't know. Like, I wasn't a huge fan of the original Star Fox either because it was slow. And I don't know, this game's okay, but it's definitely not great. The aforementioned Wario Land Virtual Boy, the best game on the platform by far. We have the aforementioned Mario Tennis, and we have Mario Clash, which was kind of a fun game. It's basically like the arcade-style Mario Brothers, except it, you know, it has a depth of field thing to it. So instead of being up and down, it's more so like forward and backward and stuff like that. Not a terrible game. Probably one of the better games on there. There was also like Tetris on there. There was actually two versions of Tetris. One of them was like a weird 3D version that kind of would make you motion sick. There was also a golf game on there, because God forbid we don't have a golf game. Nestor's Funky Bowling, if you want to get funky. You had Jack Bros on there as well. But I think the amount of games that were good for the system definitely outweigh the amount of games that were bad for the system. People said that if you played it for prolonged periods of time, you would get headaches. Bullshit. I played mine for hours because I was a smart person who had the AC adapter so I could plug it into my wall, and my eyes are fine. I could see fine. I have 20/20 vision, and if anything, the Virtual Boy and the red and black reality enhanced my vision. So thank you, Virtual Boy, for giving me and keeping my 20/20 vision all throughout these years. But it's a fun system, man, and it's so damn stupid that Nintendo never did Virtual Boy games on the 3DS. It was right there. You had the 3D mechanic. Why would you not release the whole library of games, or at least the first party games, on the Virtual Boy? Why are you so ashamed of this thing? People fail in life. I have failed a million times in life. But you know what? It's all about getting back up, looking back on those things, seeing what you can learn from them. But that doesn't mean you can't appreciate those moments in life. I don't know when I became a motivational speaker, but I sure as hell did. I sure as hell did. So shout outs to the Virtual Boy. You deserved better. You're a fun system. I actually have two of them because I have problems. I don't know. You know what? I might have actually gotten rid of one of those unsuspectingly to Phoenix Resale when I sold my collection. I know I kept at least one. I'm pretty sure I still have two, but if I don't, whatever. I still have one. Do you have any memories of the Virtual Boy? Was I a complete jerk off for picking up a Virtual Boy over a PS1 or a Saturn? Because, I mean, I was. Clearly I was. And as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video on the stash. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I'll catch you on the next one. Later.